Welcome to the Gospel with the Church Fathers podcast, formerly known as the Gospel Explained podcast. Today is the Wednesday of the 30th week in Ordinary Time. Thank you for listening. Please leave a comment, send us a tweet at Church Rebuild, or visit our website at catholicinitiative.com. Thank you. Today's Gospel is taken from St. Luke chapter 13, verses 22 through 30, and the commentaries are from St. Basil, St. Cyril, St. John Chrysostom, St. Gregory the Great, Eusebius, the Glossa Ordinaria, and St. Augustine. The Gospel. Jesus passed through towns and villages, teaching as he went and making his way to Jerusalem. Someone asked him, "Lord, will only a few people be saved?" He answered them, "Strive to enter through the narrow gate, for many, I tell you, will attempt to enter, but will not be strong enough. After the master of the house has arisen and locked the door, then you will stand outside knocking and saying, 'Lord, open the door for us.' He will say to you in reply, 'I do not know where you are from.' And you will say, 'We ate and drank in your company, and you taught in our streets.' Then he will say to you, 'I do not know where you are from. Depart from me, all you evildoers.' And there will be wailing and grinding of teeth when you see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all the prophets in the kingdom of God, and you yourselves cast out. And people will come from the east and the west, and from the north and the south, and will recline at table in the kingdom of God. For behold, some are last who will be first, and some are first who will be last." The Commentaries. The Glossa Ordinaria. This question seems to have reference to what had gone before. For in the parable which was given above, he had said that the birds of the air rested on its branches, by which it might be supposed that there would be many who would obtain the rest of salvation. And because one had asked the question for all, the Lord does not answer him individually, as it follows, and he said to them, "Strive to enter in at the strait gate." St. Basil. For as in earthly life the departure from right is exceeding broad, so he who goes out of the path which leads to the kingdom of heaven finds himself in a vast extent of error. But the right way is narrow, the slightest turning aside being full of danger, whether to the right or to the left, as on a bridge, where he who slips on either side is thrown into the river. St. Cyril. The narrow gate also represents the toils and sufferings of the saints, for as a victory in battle bears witness to the strength of the soldiers, so a courageous endurance of labors and temptations will make a man strong. St. John Chrysostom. What then is that which our Lord says elsewhere, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light"? There is indeed no contradiction, but the one was said because of the nature of temptations, the other with respect to the feeling of those who overcame them. For whatever is troublesome to our nature may be considered easy when we undertake it heartily. Besides also, though the way of salvation is narrow at its entrance, yet through it we come into a large space. But on the contrary, the broad way leads to destruction. St. Gregory the Great. Now, when he was about to speak of the entrance of the narrow gate, he said first, "Strive." For unless the mind struggles manfully, the waves of the world is not overcome, by which the soul is ever thrown back again into the deep. St. Cyril. Now our Lord does not seem to satisfy him who asked whether there are few that be saved, when he declares the way by which man may become righteous. But it must be observed that it was our Saviour's custom to answer those who asked him, not according as they might judge light, as often as they put to him useless questions, but with regard to what might be profitable to his hearers. And what advantage would it have been to his hearers to know whether there should be many or few who would be saved? But it was more necessary to know the way by which man may come to salvation. Purposefully, then, he says nothing in answer to the idle question, but turns his discourse to a more important subject. St. Augustine. Now our Lord in no wise contradicts himself when he says that there are few who enter in at the strait gate, and elsewhere, many shall come from the east and the west. For there are few in comparison with those who are lost, many when united with the angels. Scarcely do they seem a grain when the threshing floor is swept, but so great a mass will come forth from this floor that it will fill the granary of heaven. Eusebius. For the fathers above mentioned Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob before the times of the law, forsaking the sins of many gods to follow the gospel way, received the knowledge of the Most High God, to whom many of the Gentiles were conformed through a similar manner of life. But their children suffered estrangement from the gospel rules, and herein it follows, and behold, they are last which shall be first, and they are first which shall be last. St. Cyril. For to the Jews who held the first place have the Gentiles been preferred.